Hey there, Blade fans. OG Blade Reviews here. Yes. Formerly This Old Sword, but now OG Blade Review. So know me by that name. Why is today's knife so special? Well, I don't get too many of these. I think I only had one Wii knife in the past that won an award. And I can't recall which one that was. But this knife won an award at the recent Atlanta Blade Show 2024 held in June. This is just a week or so after that, and I was able to pick this up directly from Ketsuo, or Ketsuo, however you'd like to pronounce that, the manufacturing arm of Reich Knives. So this is a Karbon, K-A-R-B-O-N, as you can see, branded knife. And it is known as the Buckhorn. And I think that it's one of the few knives that also actually looks darn good right in the box as a display. Look at that thing. And there is the manufacturer, Ketsuo. And they are brothers, as I understand. I don't know the whole backstory. I could look it up, and I know that like LTK and some other people know all the inside information on this, but they're two brothers, and one owns Reich Knives, one operates Ketsuo. And Ketsuo manufactures Reich Knives as well as their own label, Ketsuo Knives. So it begins to get kind of convoluted and complex. However, this Karbon knife is a brand new name. And it might be a name that's associated with Ken Onion because this is a Ken Onion collaboration. And so the award on this knife was for Best Collaboration Knife between Ketsuo / Reich and Ken Onion, none other than the famous designer and knife maker, Ken Onion. And I got to tell you, you may be familiar with the amount of detail that Reich is capable of. You need only look at the SOCOM Bravo that they made for Microtech knives, or the Anax they made for Microtech knives, and I think there's one more they just made for Microtech knives. It's just crazy. I mean, the amount of millwork, video and still images have difficulty picking up the amount of detail in these knives. This pattern here, I recognize as something I saw recently on a Ramet knife, the Swordfish, and out the front gravity knife. And when I first looked at it, it looked as though it was like an onlay or something, added onto the knife. But no, this is actually like a 3D Fooly Eye kind of pattern that they put in here. Evidently with a milling machine, CNC, what have you, and these longitudinal lines, 4 holes in the middle, 3 holes in the middle, seeing double, I guess. Just the amount of detail is just crazy, and they top it off with this really cool, looks like a fired primer bullet casing tail end. That's all I can think of when I see it on this end, and then over here. And it is does say Buckhorn, and it does give a 87.8 2024. So August 87, maybe that's back as far as it was designed. I don't know. It looks like a date, but it's August. Yeah, I don't know. 87.8 2024. If you know, and I may be just dumb about it, let me know in the comments. These are now all sold out on Ketsuo. However, you may be able to pick them up on Knife Center and Blade HQ. I saw them recently in both places. But this is the Buckhorn by Ketsuo, and I have to keep looking, Karbon with a K. Kind of like that, Karbon. It's a big knife. It is a slim knife. It's got tons of detail. There's the knife brand, Karbon. And I saw some early ones that might have been prototypes that actually had Ken Onion's name on the inside here, but I'm not seeing that on this one. It is a frame lock folder with a hardened steel insert. It is glass smooth in closing and opening. The darn thing feels like a custom knife. I mean, it's crazy. It is slim in the hand and yet contoured to the point where it doesn't feel small. We've got a nice little run of jimping there. It's got a swedge on top and it has an interesting profile to the blade. It would have been like a spear point or bayonet. It is a bayonet grind with that swedge. But then it kind of does this little duck's bill dip down thing here. And that probably allows him to make more sense of where the grind lines meet here, because a lot of people have trouble with a stiletto style knife, double-edged looking knife, where the grind line is off, and they do that to strengthen the point and for a lot of other reasons. But you do keep a little extra meat at the point by doing that, and yet it is still stabby as hell. Make no mistake. I'm going to jump into some measurements, and then we're going to take a lot more looks at this beautiful Buckhorn model. Overall, this knife, right to that large lanyard provision, is 8, we're going to call it 8 3/4, you know, maybe slightly less. We've got a blade right to the end of that thumb stud of 3 3/4. We got a cutting edge of slightly less than that, let's say. We have other measurements here, if I can find the tool. Okay. In inches, this slim handle, check it out, 1/2 inch. It actually, for the size of the knife, looks smaller than that. And call it a 1/2 inch. That's what I got on the first round, 5.1 or 0.51. The blade stock is a fairly thin 0.12, and in millimeters, 3.30, right on the nose, 30 millimeters. Get that tape out of the way. And we're going to weigh it up. It is light. It definitely feels light. And we'll see if there's any weight relieving, as I normally do. 4.43, call it 4.44 ounces. Interesting. It really feels light. And we've got thumb studs. Misfire. They're sort of your traditional original thumb studs that you saw in a lot of the custom knives, or at least I did back in the 80s and 90s by like Mel Pardue and so forth. And this surface smudges up pretty easily. It's kind of a very fine white bead blast like Wee likes to do on some of their knives. Very fine bead blast. It's actually shiny, but not satin and not mirror. What was he talking about? Yeah, he was talking about thumb studs. And the thumb studs do not engage. And I was also talking about weight relieving. You can get the flashlight out of the pocket here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you, but take my word for it, there is a gap there between the thumb stud and the frame, so it is not resting on the frame. The lockup is, lockup is right on that pin right there. And what I'm seeing is, looks like nylon and bearings. 90% sure it's bearings. And I did say we'd take a look inside. No weight relieving. So it could have been a little lighter, but these scales, this frame, is thin. And I'm seeing a double pin inside there. I wonder if this, I don't think it does have one of those peculiar takedown mechanisms. I didn't see anything in the literature about it. If you feel differently, let me know whether this thing disassembles without tools, because we do have what looks like a couple T8s here. We've got obviously the pivot here, got a couple more screws there. We've got a pocket clip that only attaches to the right side for a tip-up carry, and I think they mentioned that. Yeah, I mean, I have not disassembled it. I tend not to take brand new knives and disassemble them unless I have some issues with them. But I'm saying bearings. Let me check that. So Knife Center is saying caged ceramic bearings. I will believe them. And also it is available currently on Knife Center. I don't believe Blade HQ has any more, but I'll send you the links. I'll leave them in the description. Just an incredible knife. If you can get a hold of one, I think it's going to have some collector value. Other examples of Reich. Lamella came out about a year and a half ago or so. And it's almost as long overall. Actually, it's maybe a tiny bit longer than the Buckhorn. This is the one that was the version 1. The version 2 has a switch here, and this is one that has a tool-less disassembly. What you have to do with this one is put a tool in there and move that lever in order to take the, it's got kind of a integral back cap, if you want to call it that, or top plate. But look at the beautiful Persian grind on this one. And what they did on this one is crown it as well. I don't think we got any crowning going on here. Nope, more of a square spine on that one. And another incredible example of Reich's work, the S-05 with this incredible Damascus that actually has Chinese characters in there as well. And there is a specific name for this. It is a type of Damas steel. And Damas steel is intentionally like injection formed to create those patterns. So a lot of people have looked at this and said, oh, it's a fake. It's they just etched that in. No, folks, it goes all the way through. There's your lines on the spine. It is through and through a Damascus steel. I do have a review on this one with much more detail. So if you want to know more about this S-05, check that out. But what a work of art. What a work of art. So I did also verify when I was looking at the Knife Center info on this, that is designed to look like a shell casing. Really cool with a name like Buckhorn. Old West style name. And oh, boy, that handle does not feel like a ½ inch. It feels like about 0.4. Maybe because of the contouring. There is some heavy contouring on this knife. I mean, that's about the only spot there that is that 0.5. And these holes do, I don't know if you can see it or not, they do go all the way through on each side, which is sort of like another neat feature. There's the light coming through. Just to prove that point, I'll compare against one other knife, the one I happen to be carrying today, Microtech MSI for size. My massage just edges it out a bit, just a bit. And the rat one coming right in there, right in at the same size. So rat one size, folks. If you know the rat one, you're dealing with the same size of knife. One last look around. Amazing, amazing dual textures and everything about it, every little detail about it. Just crazy. You can easily disengage it, by the way. And the thumb stud does fire it extremely well. We do have the hardened steel insert. Right there is the screw. And just everything is not only textured, but contoured. Just crazy. Might not be a knife you want to bump around in your pocket all day long. It is kind of a trending towards Safe Queen, but at $275, that is really not a bad deal. Did I not mention that it's S35VN? You will see that in the text under the specs when that comes up. And good, tough, edge-holding steel. It's still considered to be a premium steel, even though we've got M390, we've got MagnaCut, we've got S20V, and so on and so forth. But S35VN, you probably would have paid $350 for it if it was in something like M390 or MagnaCut, maybe even $4 in MagnaCut. Well, let me know what you think. That is the Karbon Knives Buckhorn made by Ketsuo/Reich Knives. Be well, take care. Don't forget to give this vid a like and subscribe. Getting up on 10,000 subscribers. Let's make that mark soon. Thank you. Be well.